can roll over and you can hit that snooze button. Or you can get up and you can get your ass out of bed and you can go attack and win the day. What's going on, nation? We are at it today, and that's the warm-up. That's the opening of the show today. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Yes, sirree. How's everybody today? It is a Thursday, September 19th, Mornings in the Lab with Keith, John, Marty, Christina Flynn, and the brand new opener. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We are kicking off the show here today with Shelly Spence. We are going to get after tackling LinkedIn, how to win LinkedIn, how to win in life, and how to get your ass going. I got to bring the team in the lab here. I'm wondering what they're thinking about the opener. John and Marty, what'd you guys think of that this morning?
That was pretty sick, brother.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
I was working on it last night pretty late. I know Jimmy was pretty excited about it, and we are extremely excited about that opener here this morning. I'm just trying to get my music going here in the lab here. That there. So yeah, we tuned it up, but hey, listen, nation, it's an explicit show, so I'm a little bit rattled by the opener. So I got to get to my cues. Explicit show. Explicit show. We might drop some F-bombs, some S-bombs, some every kind of bomb in the world. So if you got kids in the room, put the headset on. If you got kids in the room, maybe walk them out. We are here with myself, John Anderson, C. Marty Fit. And if you guys like the energy we're bringing to the stage, I invite you to subscribe to it. Like it. Share it with your friends. Do what you got to do to welcome us into your life. Let's bring producer Flynn on stage as well. I got the gray John Varvatos jacket on, bouging it up, Johnny. I got the old welding glasses on, the black Kangol hat on. I got the headset on. Johnny's wearing black on black on black. Marty's got black with the red headset on. Tina's
navy blue.
And we are rocking and rolling. Johnny, I can see the energy coming out of your head today, man.
I love it, brother. I love it. I mean, just you keep checking in with me on the bougie. I'm not the gatekeeper. You got to look at the youngster of the group. He's the one that doles out that title.
Hey, listen, this is what I'm going to say. I'm going to surprise you guys one day. Coming here real bougie. I'm not ready.
I can't wait.
Oh,
come on, baby.
I'm also coming straight from training, so I don't even have time to bougie it up. But one day I will for y'all. I got you.
We'll see.
You mean you're not bougie in training?
I mean, with my sweatsuits, with my brand, yeah, I got the best sweatsuits on the East Coast.
You got to bring that, brother. The sweatsuits are bougie as hell. I got to whip out the Versace sweatsuit, the robe. Then we're getting really going for it.
Yeah. Sweatsuits coming. It's not cold here yet, though.
I love that. Marty's like, I got the best sweatsuit on the East Coast. Yes, he does. Yeah, nation, if you're looking for the best sweatsuit on the East Coast, you got to go to less brunches, more crunches. You got to go knock on Marty's door. And if you're looking for something to fit those muscles that are bursting out of your chest, you might want to go knock on John Anderson's door and go pick up a fuck mental weakness t-shirt. Not wellness. We want you to be wellness. Fuck mental weakness. It's taking me some time to get there. So, hey, Tina,
we're just in the process of the rebrand. So it won't be but another week. You're going to see me bringing the new logo is stretched out. It's going to be cool.
Okay.
Beautiful. Hey, Tina, what did you think of the opener today?
It was good. I wasn't sure if it was a movie trailer or a morning show. So let's fucking go.
Yeah.
Well,
felt like I'm about to be on the set of Transformers or something.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I was rehearsing last night in the living room, and Lauren's looking at me like, "What the hell are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I got some tunes. I got jacked up here, ready to rock and roll." Hey, we may have a Russian intelligence specialist in the green room today. So I thought I would amp up, and she's shaking her head. She's like, "No, I'm not." Okay, then maybe she's like an Iranian Russian intelligence. Or actually,
that's crazy.
I'm going to be full truth. We got Shelly Spence joining us here, former U.S. intelligence human being, and Marty and I were curious one day about what she did there, and I think we learned, Marty, that she pushed paper around.
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Hey, so I got something for you guys to think about today. Have you guys ever thought about going to the moon?
Interesting thought.
I'm cool on Earth. I'm good with Earth.
So NASA is creating moon time. I gotta find my notes here. Did you guys know that? So true story. So because we are going to be making our way to the moon one day, the White House has directed an agency to create Moon's new time zone by 2026. Thoughts on that, nation? Your thoughts on that, team? You guys?
Where do you start?
We got Eastern time zone, Central time zone, every time zone on the planet, but they are now thinking that they need to create
Moon time zone.
That's exactly it. And actually, it's going to be called LTC, Coordinated Lunar Time Zone.
Interesting.
Yeah. What are our thoughts on that? So one of the LTC's goals, guys, is to be scalable to other celestial bodies in the future, including Mars. Right. So the reality is that as we are expanding where we are traveling as human beings, the concern is, well, we need to keep everybody in time check. Right. So they want to make sure that as we're traveling to Mars, traveling to the moon, we all have the same time. And as you guys may or may not remember, last week they also we exited that Polaris Dawn space capsule. Right. And they all stuck their heads out in space. What they also did on that trip, you guys, was they also tested high-speed internet from the capsule to Elon's orbiting satellites around the planet, down to Earth, up to the capsule, all in the hopes of then beaming it all the way to Mars. So right in front of us right now, we are seeing this airplane, Johnny, we talk about being built right in front of us. They tested the spacesuits, they tested the internet, they're now putting time zone in place. So I can guarantee you guys, in the 7th or 8th year of this show, we're going to be talking to people on Mars, talking to people on the moon, and we're going to be using this infrastructure they're putting in place right now. And I can see.
How was the internet? How was the internet? Because I can't fucking get it in my house to work. What are they doing?
Yeah, well, that's what's happened. They're going to create lunar time zone.
I need to know how the internet was and how we can get it for all of us and our guests.
Do you have Starlink? Are you on the Elon program?
No, I'm
not on the Elon program.
Well, there you have it. That's the Elon program that's doing all this great shit. When I got Starlink, it made a big difference.
Are you sponsored and you didn't tell me?
That's it.
What's that?
Are you sponsored by Starlink and you didn't tell me? You're trying to subtly drop?
I don't think that anybody is sponsored by Starlink. I don't think Elon needs to sponsor anyone to get his products to be bought.
He's going to be a trillionaire in the next 2 years.
Is he really?
Holy
Toledo.
Think about that, right? So I keep saying to everybody, we got Tony Stark right around us, and the fact of the matter is that we have somebody who's going to be just like that. Hey, listen, good morning, good time. I see you in the comments. Thanks for showing up here this morning. So Young Parks, loving leather jacket. Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm going to the closet. I'm thinking, okay, we had a great show yesterday. People tuned in. We got a great new opener. We're upping the graphics. I figured, hey, I'd up the old wardrobe as well. Good times. They're not welding glasses. No, they're actually sunglasses that look like welding glasses. I know Paul Riedner reached out last week saying, hey, awesome sunglasses. But what else we got coming in here? We got good times coming in here. No, and Soyoung is not going to the moon. So since we're not doing moon time, I got something else for you guys that I found yesterday that I know is going to resonate with all of you. And Marty, we talked about this a while back on the show, and a new study has suggested that how much exercise, John, can offset somebody sitting their ass all day in a chair. Because we know that if we're going to sit in a chair all day, we are slowly dying.
Yeah, I'm dying to hear what this thing says. Sometimes these things that you dig up off the internet are so backwards.
Let's hear it.
So a meta-analysis published in 2020 analyzing 9 previous studies involving 45,000 people found that 30 to 40 minutes of exercise can lower the risk of death associated with a sedentary lifestyle. So as long as you get your ass up for at least 30, 40 minutes a day, you're going to live longer. If you're going to sit your ass all day in the chair, you're going to die quicker. It's literally as simple as that.
I would agree with that study. It doesn't take much blood flow to make your body start to have that positive ripple effect back towards health. So yes. I totally agree with that.
You know
So I'm curious, what's actually happening to our bodies, like in terms of blood flow when we are sitting all day? What does that look like?
Johnny?
I don't have the science behind that, but you figure like this. Think of it from a design standpoint. We were designed to like get up and start moving. Like if we were in a cooler, like a seasonal, we got up in the morning because we were cold and we started moving just so that we could, have a better quality of life. So we weren't designed to sit still. We were designed to be moving around. So you take anything out of its design. Think about those big earth movers that you see excavating like neighborhoods. Those are only designed to work on dirt. You take one of those on cement, it blows up all the transmissions. So as a human being, we were designed to move. So by not moving, we're going against our design. So what's going to happen? I guess as time goes on, we're seeing more and more of what is going to happen.
And good times coming in with sitting, the new smoking. True story. And you know what? Actually, true story here. Funny because Martin and I did a segment on the show here, and it was a great short. We did it a few months ago, and the person commented on two guys sitting telling us that we should be standing as we're sitting here telling you guys that you need to be standing while we're sitting here dying.
You know what they got? They got these new desks, and I actually just got one of these from my studio where you can literally raise it up and down with a button. So you can sit for a while, hit the button, raise it up, stand for a while. So, there's plenty of ways to move in the right direction if you really want to. The question is, there we go.
Hey.
The question is, do people really want to do it?
Well, and they also have these little treadmills underneath the desk as well that you can move your legs as you're sitting. That just is a whole bizarre situation to me. We're gonna have a whole segment with Marty going up and down in the camera.
We're talking about things under the desk. That's what we're talking about.
Here we go. Here goes Johnny. Here goes Johnny, man.
I can think of a lot more fun things to be under the desk. I can think of a lot more fun things to be under the desk than a treadmill.
Yeah, Johnny's water bottle so he can piss into it. That's what he's thinking under the best, Marty. But hey, listen, what does happen if you sit too long in the chair is you're going to get dead butt syndrome.
I didn't even know that was a thing until you said that the other day. Like
with this dead butt syndrome?
I don't know what keeps
Listen. 14 minutes after the hour here, we're going to get to the accountability check-in in a second. But if you're going to sit your ass too long in a chair, you're going to get dead butt. It is a gluteal amnesia, and it's your ass saying, "I'm tired of sitting too long," and it's left cheek and right cheek saying, "Get up off the fucking what you're sitting on and walk around." Office jobs or sedentary lifestyles are primary causes of DBS. Johnny,
what is it though?
It's an over-reliance on other muscles. It is lower back pain. Weak glutes can cause the lower back to overcompensate, leading to discomfort, hip pain, the imbalance in muscle activity, knee pain, weak glutes, limited mobility. Those are all the symptoms of dead butt syndrome.
Now tell them about high butt syndrome.
Well, and there is also high butt syndrome, to Marty's point. It is where NFL players train really hard to create a high butt for better. Now, we're not talking about deep cleavage butt, like yesterday's conversation with John Anderson. No, because we learned yesterday that John has a deep cleavaged butt, but that's a whole conversation for another day. Today we're talking about dead butt syndrome or high butt on the Morning Loop, the only show that helps you guys get your ass out of bed, get standing, get walking, so you do not get dead butt. Christina Flynn.
All of these things are just about people. It's all about people getting lazier. If you think like in the fitness world, core is this big new thing. You need core. It's because as soon as all these machines were brought in, you stopped working your core. Back before there was machines, when you pick something up, your core was working. So that's what it is. I mean, now that people sitting on these machines doing nothing, the core doesn't engage. Same thing. Now that everybody's sitting on their asses, we got some new thing called butt syndrome.
Dead butt syndrome. I know what we're going to worry about. I'm going to worry about sending John out to go to the restroom. I'm going to let Marty go for a stretch. We're going to kick Tina out for a minute, and then we're going to come back in about a minute, and we're going to bring in Shelly Spence. We're going to get into the center stage segment. We're going to get to know Shelly. But first, guys, we're going to do this. All right. It's the handsome chief. That's me. Oh yeah, it's that guy. What? Yeah, it's me. You like my jacket? All right. What are we spitting up there today? Hey, you know what? You know when you have a great coach in your life, you get a message before you do something, and you're like, "Oh my God, I can go run through a wall for you." Well, I got that message this morning. Thanks, Tina. You know when you have somebody who holds you accountable, who helps push you to that next stage, who has your best interests in mind? Yeah, I got those people on my team. I'm really grateful for that. But listen, the first thing I remember was asking, "Hey, Papa, why?" For there were many things I didn't know, and Daddy always smiled and took me by the head and said, "Get your ass to the bed and chase that audacious goal now, because someday it's never going to come. Someday you won't have more time. Someday you won't be ready more than now." You know what will happen someday if you wait longer, Business Athlete Nation? Nothing. Nope, nothing. Absolutely nothing will change for you. And if that doesn't scare the holy bejesus out of you, and if that doesn't scare the inaction out of you, then maybe you deserve to stay stuck there on your ass, stuck there building that dead butt. Harsh? Maybe, but not as harsh as the regret you're going to face one day sitting there, not fucking moving. The only worse thing than failing, let me clear my voice, is never trying in the first place. So I have an idea. As you're listening to me right now, you got one of two things you can do. You can sit there and do fucking nothing, or you can get up and get your ass out of bed and get out there and attack the day. Go and win it. Go and win what you set out to do today. That is your invite for today's accountability check-in. All right, coming back here with my team, John, Marty, Shelly. We're bringing in Christina Flynn here today as well. We're going to have a big conversation with Shelly Spence, joining us all the way from Reno, Nevada. Shelly gets her ass out of bed with us, a U.S. Army intelligence veteran and a LinkedIn powerhouse. Nation, Shelly is on a mission to help job seekers succeed with tactical, no-nonsense support. She's a mortgage operations executive with deep expertise in credit risk management. She's all about improving the processes and cutting down on those inefficiencies. She's a builder of a growing LinkedIn presence, all while balancing a full-time role at the Agency for Housing and Urban Development. She's the co-creator of an upcoming LinkedIn audio room series focusing on helping new creators just crush it with best practices. She's also the perfect example of how to pursue goals between 9 to 5. Got to get her out of here in 40 minutes because she's got to go to her job. And today we're going to dig into the why behind her journey. So today, Business Athlete Nation, John, Marty, and Christina, let's take a quick second to welcome our friend, Shelly Spence, to the lab.
Shelly, how are you?
I'm great. Good morning.
Welcome.
What's going on, Shelly? Nice to have you here today. Welcome to the lab. Thank you. So tell us something today. You got your ass out of bed this morning at Reno. You're like, I'm excited to join the show. Is there any? So you've been hanging out for the first 18 minutes with us. Is there anything that you're surprised about that you've been listening to on the other side of the speaker that you're now behind the scenes with us? Anything that jumps out at you?
You know, nothing really surprised me, but you all are exactly how you present on the show. So,
well, this is the ambition. This is the ambition. So I'll tell you, when Marty and I first found out you were a U.S. Army intelligence veteran, we cracked some jokes on LinkedIn about you. So tell us about being a U.S. Army intelligence veteran, and what does that mean to Shelly Spence?
well, I joined the military when I was very young, just out of high school, 17 years old. I thought I'd, join the world or see the world and meet boys, but it really was the grand adventure. So, and my role in the military, besides being a soldier, I was a Morse code collector. So and I don't even think they have that job anymore. That was a while ago, but it was a lot of fun. I spent a couple years in South Korea, a little time in Japan, and the rest of the time on the East Coast outside of DC. So it was great. I learned a lot. The one thing the military taught me is you can train and do just about anything, right? You listen to somebody, you follow the process every day. I never knew I could run 8 miles. I never knew that I could shoot. I never knew I could do these, a confidence course thing. I wasn't an athlete when I was a kid. I was in the band. I was a band geek, right? So that is one thing I learned, is you can learn to do almost anything with proper mentorship and training.
Yeah.
Yes.
Johnny.
No, I love that. I love that. I mean, basically, when you step outside your comfort zone, you're going to be blown away with what you can actually do. Most people, they've got this word that's just rampant across our population. I can't. And all that means is I don't want to try. And when you try, you get outside your comfort zone, amazing things happen. We just heard exactly that.
Tina.
It's so cool. I mean, I always want to go back to, was it just that simple? Like you just wanted to see the world and chase boys? Or like what drew you into the military? To me, that's such a commitment that people make. And typically, I'm always just curious about that motivation. Tell me a little bit more about it.
So my bestie and I, we were out cruising because that's what kids did back then, right? And we thought we would just go visit the recruiter. And again, I'm just a baby, right? I was immature because I was a little younger than my peers. And so we started just by visiting the recruiter, and then we were able to get into a good program. And in the idea of traveling the world, and I grew up on a farm in Podunk, California, right? So the idea of
where's Podunk? Where's Podunk? I gotta know.
It's Porterville, California. It's halfway between Bakersfield and Fresno, right?
That's a massive farming area. Yeah.
And I grew up on a farm. That farm had been in my family over 100 years, right? So, and I'm not exaggerating. So in the joking about boys is kind of tongue in cheek. I wanted the grand adventure. I wasn't ready to settle down and go to school. And my parents, and they're super supportive, but they're like, Shell, we're going to put you through school. We're going to pay. But, I go to community college first here in town. And I just wanted to get out. I was ready to go, and so join the military, get, the GI Bill and all that good stuff. But the most exciting part, and of course the recruiter kind of played it up, right? They're just salesmen. And so, but, oh, Shelly, you're going to be intelligence and you're going to go to all these great places. And I had orders for Hawaii, but I ended up not going. That was sad. But I got to live 2 years in a foreign country. And the cool thing is about the military, and again, we're babies, 17, 18, 19 years old, right? The cool thing is they give you just enough rope to hang yourself. But, if you spend all your check, buying clothes or whatever, you still got a place to live, you got food to eat. And so it was a great, it's just very similar to moving out to go to college, right?
You're hanging out with Keith, John, Marty, Christina Flynn, and our guest here this morning, Shelly Spence. You're joining us mornings in the lab with Keith and friends. The only morning show to get you guys asked out of bed in the morning. We got some great comments coming from the side here. We got Jack Duggan coming in here saying, "Hey, Shelly, your courage to serve is both admirable and inspiring. Thank you for your service." Thank you for that, Jack Duggan. So Young is coming in with love that, Shelly. That's awesome. And Jack, yes, those shades have made your drip. Thank you, Jack. I appreciate that. And hey, just a reminder to tuning in this morning, I invite you to subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the Mornings in the Lab channel. You'll get content like this delivered to your feed every single morning. 8 o'clock Eastern time is when we go live. We like to drop stuff here to help you guys, get you guys going. Greatest when dying. This is BS. No, I don't know about that. I think this is actually pretty fun. We like to have a lot of fun here in the lab. Hanging out with Shelly Spence here. Shelly, so you got a 9-to-5er now. And you also balance all your LinkedIn stuff, which we're going to get into in a few minutes. What was the reason for pursuing goals beyond the 9-to-5?
Well, most of my career, I've been in mortgage, which is not a 9-to-5. It's 9 to 7, 8 or 9, right? Yeah. And so my former industry kind of imploded, and I was very fortunate to get on with HUD. And that is a regular 8-hour job. So I start at 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm done at 2:30, and I have what feels like hours to do something for myself. And so a friend of mine suggested, he said, Shelly, you need to get on LinkedIn and establish your presence a little bit. And I got playing around, and I realized, man, this is great fun. And so that is how it evolved. And I see the horsepower that LinkedIn can have for anybody, regardless of where they are in their career, right? Whether you're looking for a job, you have a great job, or you're self-employed, right? LinkedIn, I think, is the future of professional professionals, right? And so I see that. I see it, and I'm not sure how it's going to play out for me down the road, but I'm running for it.
Yeah. Hey, Christina, let's talk a little bit about this idea of being in the band or being an athlete. You know, people listening right now, you know, many of the people listening right now are the audience, never the athletes. Let's lean into this conversation about Shelly, you know, being in the band instead of being the athlete and so forth. Let's talk a little bit about that with Christina and weave Shelly into that. Christina.
Yeah, I'm just so curious because I think that perspective is one that resonates with a lot of our audience members. I don't think that a lot of people grew up as the star athlete. I don't think that a lot of people were the quarterback. And there's this mentality in society. It's like you either are or you aren't. And I think it's bullshit. You can be an athlete even if you don't fit into that very narrow definition that we see in high school. So I'd be curious to know, how did you come to own that athletic side of you? You're saying I didn't know I could run 8 miles, and then I did. Do you identify as an athlete now? Like, I want to talk about that.
Oh, well, I don't, how do I put this? I identify as somebody that is always working on her fitness, right? And I don't execute perfectly. That's one key thing, right? For a lot of my life, I felt like it was all or nothing. And I'm like, oh crap, I missed my Monday workout. This whole week is shot. I'm going to start again next week. And once I abandoned that all or nothing mindset and realized it's not a day-to-day thing, it's the aggregate of the day-to-day thing, right? So I miss Monday, that's okay, because I still work out Tuesday. And so as far as identifying as an athlete, the thing about, and it's a lot like the military, the thing about band is you still learn discipline, you still learn teamwork, you practice as a group, you listen to your coach, aka the band director, right? But you still you have to practice your craft at home on your own. It's the same principle. An athlete's got to do all those same things. They got to train with their trainer on their own. They got to listen to the coach and train as a group. So it's the same principles, but there's a different end.
John, I saw you nodding there as she was talking.
100%. You know, I think one of the things that people listening to our show have to understand is that, you know, sometimes you're identifying with business, maybe not athlete. Well, here's the thing. As an adult, many people stop identifying with athlete, but you got to remember this. Life is a sport. You are always an athlete, whether you like it or not, because life is going to be putting challenges in front of you. It's just, again, life is a sport.
And here's how we look at it. If you're an athlete who's looking to get started in business, you tune into the right show because we're going to help you become a business athlete. If you're a business person who's looking to get yourself sorted out on the athletic side in life, well, you're an athlete too. You come hang out with us in the Business Athlete Performance Lab, and we will turn you into a business athlete. Marty, as you're listening to Shelly tell her story, leaning into being an athlete and doing all the things she's doing, what jumps out at you, Christopher Martin?
I want to know more, you know, because she mentioned the 8 miles. She mentioned shooting some guns. I want to know, like, what was that pivotal moment that was like, wow, I'm really here, that maybe changed your mindset or maybe you know, just changed you and maybe I guess made you into the woman you are today. Like, what was the difficult? It could have been an obstacle, something crazy. You know, tell a story. Get into it a little bit more.
Okay, I have plenty of stories, but the one that is mostly more closely related to the military, right? So I was in basic training, and it was New Jersey in the winter. You know, I'm from California. We don't have winters like that out there. So that alone was a big deal. But we had our day on the confidence course. You know, that's the big rope things, and you climb over walls and you crawl through mud, all this stuff, and it was actually a lot of fun. And so I go through the confidence course, and I kicked ass, and I was never the most athletic, but I was never at the end either. I was solid, right? I was dependable. So I go through it a couple of times. I hurt my arm, and again, you know, I'm 17 years old. Remember, Sergeant, I hurt my arm. He said, Spence, I didn't think you were a wimp. And so I thought to myself, you know what? Fuck you. Didn't say that. And I went through it again. And that is when I realized, right? And I wasn't injured. I just, you know, pulled something a little bit, but I was fine. So that is when I realized I can do whatever I want to do. And regardless of the people that, you know, might doubt me, you know, there were a lot of people that snickered, you know, Shelly's joining the Army. Are you kidding me? And you got to remember, you know, I'm going to tell you my age now. This was when Stripes was big and Private Benjamin. So I got all those jokes. And so, but that was my pivotal moment. Like, you know what? I am fairly badass and I can do this. And I have, not perfectly, but I've remembered that day many times over my life, and it's helped me in my career, my personal life, and I know how to get through tough shit. That I can say.
Hey, you're hanging out with Keith, John, C. Marty Fit, Christina Flynn, and our guest Shelly Spencer. Come to the bottom of the hour, 8:30 Eastern time. This time of the show, we like to give you guys something to think about to get you guys moving on the fitness side of thing, and we call it the C. Marty Fit Tip, and it sounds exactly like this.
Get it, Marty.
Go get it, Marty.
Let's do it. All right.
Come on, man.
Oh, John, I'm gonna get you later. Don't, John, I'm gonna get you. But and I wanted to tell Shelly that's what we wanted to hear. Well, that's what I was looking for. So that was a perfect story, and we kind of going to talk about that a little bit in this fitness tip. Your body can do amazing things, but your mind is the real powerhouse. Kind of like what Shelly was referring to earlier. If you want to take your workout to the next level, this is how. Visualize success. Picture yourself crushing goals. You're not going to crush goals if you don't see yourself doing it first. All right. Before bed, imagine your next workout. Every rep, every breath, you'll wake up mentally prepared. You got to get yourself mentally prepared before you step in the gym. You're not just going to step in there with the negative mindset, negative thoughts, talking to yourself negatively and crush your workout. And then you're probably not going to eat clean after that. But let me not get off topic. Let's stay on topic today. Stay positive. Hit the gym with the mindset that today will be better than yesterday. Positivity fuels progress. You could have struggled yesterday, right? You could have missed your weight goal. You could have missed your mile time or whatever it is, okay? You got to tell yourself that the next day is going to be better. And that's the beautiful thing about the gym. If you do fail, you could come back the next day and hit that goal or exceed that goal. Focus and disconnect. Ditch distractions. Focus on the muscles you're working. This mind-muscle connection boosts results. So not only do you have to focus on mind-muscle connection, cut out the distractions such as watching Netflix too late, watching NFL football too late, negative people who discourage you from your goals, right? Negative people like Shelly just mentioned, snickering and laughing at her because she wanted to join the Army. Cut them out. Get them out of there. Push through. Times are going to be tough. When the burn kicks in, don't stop. That's where the growth happens. Pain, not injury, is progress. Just like Shelly just said, your workout starts in your head, master your mind, and your body will follow. That's the fitness tip for today.
That is the fitness tip of the day. Every single day at 8:30 Eastern time, C. Marty Fit, Christopher Martin drops the fit tip, something to give you guys something to think about.
Yes, sir.
Move your day forward and so forth. We got our guest, Shelly Spencer, today in the lab. We are talking how to win on LinkedIn, how to build a LinkedIn presence as a full-time employee for future leverage, playing the long game. And, you know, and I dropped a bit last week where I had some regret. I was building my previous company, thought shit was all great, flying the old airplane, woo, 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 bougie, bougie, bougie. Said, oh, fuck social media, left the platforms, became a ghost, left LinkedIn, left everything. And then I woke up one day 10 years later going, hey, I'm here. People be like, hey, who the fuck are you? So we're going to talk a little bit today about how you may want to build your LinkedIn presence and your social media presence. Even if you got a big job, even if you got a great job, a great career, you still want to keep that presence because the rest of the world feels that is very important. So,
hey, Keith, can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
When you hit me up about the show, I thought you were a scam. I'm not going to lie. You had no social media presence. I'm like, who is this guy? That's why I had to research you and do my background check. But sorry, I didn't want to. I just want to throw that out there.
Well, that's
quick.
good, though.
I can add to that. I'll add to it.
Go ahead, Christina.
I came across the job posting for a producer. I'm like, oh, this is a cool job. I want to work for a creator. Cool. I love this. Look at his profile. And I was like, nope. He reached out to me. Nope. He reached out to me. And then I was like, okay.
Yeah. Okay. I got one friend here. John Anderson called me and said, hey, Keith, yes, will you be my friend? I'm like, yes, I'll be your friend. So,
well, see, you know what I saw? I was like, you know what? This nutty little dude is full of energy, you know, and, you know, we had a little bit of a conversation. He said he was an entrepreneur, you know, and I thought, you know what? if you got the entrepreneurial spirit and you're a little nutty, I think I want to hear what this guy's got to say.
Well, I thought maybe you thought I was a bodybuilder, John. So I thought you read that on alone. You're like, oh, this guy's.
I don't think John thought that.
John's like, this guy's bigger
No,
than
no.
me.
But I do need to clear the air here. So yes, Keith refers to himself as a bodybuilder, but anybody can be a bodybuilder, non-competitive, because bodybuilding just means you're building your physique. So for all of you out there that want to wear the tag of the bodybuilder, all you got to do is continue to try to grow your physique or change your physique, and you are a bodybuilder.
That's right. Or if you sit too long, you can build your big ass and turn it into a dead butt syndrome ass. But anyways, listen, let's go to why we're here with Shelly Spencer today. We only have so much time with Shelly. Shelly, 57% of LinkedIn users report that a strong personal brand has helped them find a new job opportunity. And let's lay some groundwork with some context, team. Many full-time employees don't see the immediate need. I was one of them for building a LinkedIn presence. But the platform offers huge potential for future career pivots, side projects, or consulting work. So Shelly, you're building your brand while working full-time. You got an employer that does what you're doing. And how do you see this benefiting your career in the future? So, and are you planning for something bigger down the road? And then I'm going to come to all of you, John, Marty, Christina, around this idea of building personal brands on all the different platforms. But Christina, let's start with you. Are you planning for something bigger down the road? Is that why you're really kind of leaning into LinkedIn and so forth?
Shelly, he met you.
Oh, I was going to say, well, he said Christina. Okay.
Yeah.
Don't be sorry. Okay. So yeah. So before, when I, worked in mortgage, I never had time for anything else, right? It's balls to the wall every day, 10, 12 hours. And so, now I have this time. And so I'm not sure what that future is, but I know it's big, right? And so the cool thing is I build my network, making those connections, meeting people like you, right? And I'm learning the ropes of social media, and I'm connecting with all kinds of different people, not from just my former industry, but other industries. And I'm learning, right? So I'm learning that how to play the algorithm a little bit. I'm learning how to connect. I'm learning how to write. That's the most fun part, right? And so I throw a couple hours at it every day, and I'm just building and building and building. In 5 months, and I've gone from roughly 500 followers to 3,200. That's not too shabby, right? And so I see the horsepower there, right? I know it's the connection, it's the experience, it's the practice, but I do see that, whatever I want to do once I'm ready to retire, whatever I want to do, I'm going to have that network in place. I'm going to have those skills refined, right? And it'll only get better.
Fuck yeah. I don't think enough people are talking about this. No, listen, not enough people are talking about this. And I'd be interested to know if you've ever used any other social platforms before finding LinkedIn, but particularly people like yourself that have had a career of experience and expertise that are in a position where they have a little bit more time. Maybe their kids have left home. Maybe they've got this new job and all of a sudden they're used to going balls to the walls and now they've got a little bit more time. What you're doing right now with this investment, which is what it is investing in an asset. The asset is the personal brand, and the personal brand on a platform allows you to leverage it into the future. What I love about what you're doing, Shelly, is you're not just saying like, I'm here, I'm going to go crazy, I'm going to do whatever the gurus are saying, I'm going to build 10,000 followers and y'all will pay me for a digital product. You're saying, this is my retirement plan. And we all know you're going to have a great retirement plan already because of the time you served and the government work that you're doing. But you're saying, I want to have freedom. I want to have power. I want to be able to leverage me and my skills and my expertise. So tell me a little bit about that. Like, is that kind of what you're thinking? Am I getting that right?
Absolutely. So the cool thing is with personal branding, we can curate how the world sees us. Now, I want to be authentic. I'm not disingenuous, but I can be my best self, right? And another cool thing is I can express, and this is something that's very important to me, my professional core values. So any of you could go through my feed and read, a few of my posts, and exactly who Shelly is, right? What's important to her. You know, we owe our employer an honest day's work, right? That kind of thing. Also, though, as an employer, we owe our team members, we need to pay them a decent wage that's commensurate with their experience and their the market and all that good stuff. And so people can see who I am. And so if I ever have to look for a job again, although I hope I don't, they can go to my LinkedIn and look at my feed and decide, is this the kind of person I want? Right? I don't even have to, they're not going to reach out to me, right? If they decide I'm not their cup of tea. And the cool thing is I do not care, right? I just go on there, I be me, and I present my best self, and I'm attracting people that are like-minded, and it's awesome. And so, and the world is my oyster, right? I don't have to decide exactly what I want to do. When I first started, I was thinking about becoming a mortgage operations consultant, right? I've been doing that stuff for a while. I have plenty of knowledge. I can write posts that were, as boring as mortgages. If I wanted, I could write posts that are funny and get a little attention. But with my role with the government, I can't do that. So the cool thing is that's made me develop other knowledge or other interests, different knowledge, and I'm flexing on those and writing about those. So it's been great. So I don't have to pick one thing. I'm just growing the network, seeing what's interesting, and I can figure it out as I go.
Yeah. Hey, Johnny, you have been around before the internet. You were out there building your brand over on the wrestling circuit, the bodybuilding circuit, the strongman circuit.
Yeah.
When did the light go on for you that the power of the personal brand was really all about what you were doing? And when you saw these tools like Instagram came to the market, YouTube came to the market, LinkedIn, and so forth, when did the light go on for you as a marketer to say, hey, I need to be over there. I'm going to go build these platforms to build my brand? John Anderson.
Well, back when I first hit the, visibility, if you will, once I started competing and started becoming recognized, there was no social media yet.
No.
I mean, literally, I'm trying to think, YouTube was just basically, it was kind of hatched just before I made the switch to wrestling. It was at Facebook. It was MySpace.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and it was like, it was like a really, really weird thing, all this stuff coming about. And, in those days prior to this stuff, like when I would get a sponsor, it's because an owner of a company would come find me in an expo or a competition, come meet me, shake my hand, and he was buying me. And it was a very different world. All of a sudden, let's fast forward 10 years. Just like anything, you've got to move with the times.
Yes.
And of course, I was resistant, man. I was like, shit, the internet has already taken away my fax machine. Now I've got all these platforms and shit. It's like, oh my God, it was just coming too fast. But I realized, okay, I got to pursue the things that make me uncomfortable. So I dove into social media. So again, 10 years forward from the handshake, hey, would you like to be sponsored by my company? 10 years forward, now companies are basically sponsoring a page or a following. They
Yes.
don't, it's like they don't really care so much about what you are in person because people see such little bit of that. They care what you have on your social media. So it was such a big change. And then when it comes down to it, if you have the character in person, right, which I did because I made my career prior to social media, all I did was carry that right in social media. And by this point, I was very, very comfortable with being myself, respectfully, unapologetically being me, which basically is my brand. I am John Anderson 100% of the time, no matter whether nobody's looking at me or 100 people look at me, I'm doing the same shit.
Yeah, we're talking winning on LinkedIn, winning on social media, strategies for personal branding and business success. Marty, got a question coming up for you, and then Johnny, we're gonna flip to the lifestyle segment. Marty, so you're you are our younger chap on the panel here, the one who I wish I still was in my 30s. Yeah, exactly.
I'm down with Chap. I can work with Chap.
Yeah, I like the Chap. Yeah, so Chap's a compliment, Marty. So Marty, did you just accept and adopt all these social media tools because that's just what you did as a young man growing up, Marty? Or was there strategy behind embracing Instagram, embracing See Marty Fit, embracing the tools that are in front of you? Or like I said, was it accidental, or was there much purpose behind that, Marty?
Yeah, it kind of was just what I grew up on. I started on MySpace, and then it was Facebook, then Instagram, Twitter. It kind of just what I grew up on. But honestly, I didn't really start taking it serious until I got into my business, until I got into personal training. I made my transition from sports to the real world, because that's how I got clients. That's how I promoted myself. That's how I marketed myself. So that's kind of how my transition went.
Yeah, excellent. All right. So listen, we're going to do the lifestyle tip of the day here, and then we're going to come back and we're going to lean into overcoming the fear of being public on social media, why we fear going public, as we're talking with Shelly Spence here today and building personal brands. But right now, we like to give this fellow on the panel some time to talk about habit stacking and getting you guys sorted out to achieve those big ass goals. And we call it the John Anderson lifestyle tip.
Rock and roll, Johnny.
Let's do it, baby. All right. As always, these tips, I try to make them simple and very actionable. And today's, it's a very, very small step or small tip, small action. It's daily, but it has massive, massive results. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about inventory. I'm talking about personal inventory. I'm talking about personal mental inventory. When you wake up every day, you basically are in a state, if you will. Question is, are you in a state of being anxious or stressed? Or are you in a state of, joy and like positive bliss? Most of us, myself included, wake up in a little bit of a mild stress or anxiety. So here's what I'm talking about. Here's the tip. Take a little mental inventory. When you get up, you're moving, think to yourself, what am I feeling? What's going on in my head? And if you have anxiousness, you have stress, that's because your brain has released a stress hormone into your bloodstream. And those thoughts that you had, you may not even recognize you had them, have now translated into your body. That's where the stress comes from. You could feel it. So as soon as you take this inventory and you realize, man, I'm really not in the mental space, the mental state I want to be in, you need to think about things that are positive. Think about gratitude. Think about the things that you have that you're happy to have. Think about the things that you're going to do that excite you, and your brain will switch. The human brain does not have the ability to be in a state of stress and gratitude at the same time. So as soon as you start to recognize that your thoughts are creating a stress for you because your body's releasing a stress hormone, flip the script, think, you know what? I recognize this. I need to change my thought process. Think about something that makes you smile. And that smile will literally trigger a different chemical coming from your brain that will put you in a better state of mind, that will give you a perspective, more of the glass is half full rather than the glass is half empty, because the stress hormone is going to have you looking at the wrong side of the equation. So the tip today, simple yet effective. Daily mental inventory. What are you feeling? And know that you have the ability to change how you feel so you can have a great day every day. Rock and roll.
Our lifestyle tip with John Anderson every single day at 8:45 Eastern time. Something to get you guys motivated, something to think about, and give you something to get through the day. We're hanging out with Shelly Spence from Reno, Nevada. Shelly, 60% of people fear negative feedback stops them from posting on social media. A major reason that many people avoid being public on social media is the fear of being judged. Shelly, as someone who's built a personal brand on LinkedIn, how did you overcome that fear? I know we know somebody who's tuning in right now, a guest of the show, a fan of the show, one of our stands, So Young Park. We watched her doing her thing before she got the courage to post a video. Now she's a posting machine. But someone like yourself who's built that personal brand, how did you overcome that fear, Shelly? And how did you do it? What was there a specific moment, or is there a specific tactic that helped you push through that fear of doing it? Shelly.
Okay, so first of all, when I first started posting on LinkedIn, I only had an audience of 500 people. So the chances of someone even seeing it were very low. So I really didn't fear that piece, right? What was more intimidating for me was going in and commenting. And so, because then you're getting a little bit more personal, right? You're actually talking to people one-on-one or 5-on-5 or whatever. And it's not like you're on your platform, preaching to the group. So So I have less of a fear of the haters than a lot of people. But what you're describing, one of my best friends, it's the exact reason she doesn't post, because she's concerned of negative feedback or trolls, and that's a real concern, right? And so I don't care. I'm at an age, I don't care what people think of me, and I don't care if I get some negative feedback that isn't kind or whatever, and they're assholes, I'm just going to delete and block, and it is what it is. So, that's how I got over it.
And Johnny, what do we like to say?
If they're talking smack, you're on the right track.
That's exactly.
I got you. Hold on, I got you.
Hit the button, baby.
Wait.
You know
Yeah.
you're on the right
Yeah.
track.
There we go.
Yeah.
And Mike McQuillan comes in and says, 50% of which shaking Mike, haters elevate your reach more than anyone. And that is so true, right? If you got no haters, nobody's listening to you, right? So, and it's funny.
Yeah.
Marty and John, we can see the haters showing up in the comments, and every single day more show up, and I'm like, yes, they're showing up and they're hating us. And of course, we got Enzo, who's not hating us. Of course, Enzo don't hate us. We got Enzo with the old.
I think Enzo's a hater.
Enzo's a hater. Hey, Enzo, you're late, man. What are you doing? Did you hit snooze? If you hit snooze 4 times, you're many minutes late behind us. Shelly, when did you what's an example of a post that you put up there where you had immediate regret, where you're like, oh shit, I should not have posted that, and then you did the double take? Do I take it down or do I leave it up?
Oh, wow. That is a good question. Okay. Yeah. So I posted about a time where I failed.
Oh,
and yeah. And, when I was back in sales, of course, this was mortgage, several years ago, and I was running a branch, and it was not going well. And I got demoted, and I was butthurt, right? My feelings were hurt. And I quit. I'm not going to be a loan originator. I quit, and I was trying to figure out what I was going to do. I was at home nursing my wounds. And then I lived pretty close to my former branch. So I went to go pick up dinner at El Torito Grill. And who did I see? The guy that just demoted me. And I was rightly demoted, right? It wasn't working. And he was there with my replacement, the hot young guy that's about 10 years younger and, built, Mr. Athletic. And I'm in my piece of shit car in the El Torito waiting for my food. And I wanted to crawl under the floor mat. And it was a bad time. Thank God I don't think he saw me to this day. So a week later or so, the president of the company calls me out of the blue. And coincidentally, I had sat with him on a flight to Vegas for a big conference. So I knew him personally. And he said, look, Shell, I know that didn't work out. And I know your feelings are hurt, but I see a lot of great things in you. And I want you to take those talents, and I want you to bring them to operations, and I want you to develop them and move up the ladder there. And I did. He brought me back, and then I made it to AVP within like 2 or 3 years. And that was really the best thing that could have happened in my career, right? Because I wasn't as well suited for the sales side. I had the personality, I could be perky and all that crap, but I don't like rejection. So of course, sales, no bueno for that kind of personality type. But so I put it up, and then 5 minutes later, I'm thinking, oh crap, do I really want people to see this horrible, horrifying failure? And it was bad at the time, but of course I left it up, and I got a lot of good feedback. So, that's probably the post that resonates most with your question.
Marty.
So I want to say this. I lived in Cali for 2 years. El Torito is fire. Great food. But and I want to relate to you. I made a rule for when I post things that I regret, which happens quite often. I have a rule. F it. Leave it. You do not delete it. You leave it right there, because I had the I had the motivation to post it, so it's providing some type of value. But moving forward, what advice do you want to give to people that are scared to post? And what I'm sorry, two questions here. And how beneficial is it to be authentic in them posts, whether you regret it or not?
That's a good question. And I got to talk fast because I do have to get to my real job in 5 minutes. So first of all, practice your writing, right? The more you practice, then the more confident you're going to be, right? And don't be afraid of AI. AI can critique your post and help you get better. You still want to be yourself. You don't want to tell fake stories, but just be yourself. And trust me, if what you post is shit, the algorithm is not going to show your post to anybody. No one's even going to see, right? So, what's the risk there? So, and forgive me, Marty, what was your second question?
Well, how important is it to be authentic in those posts?
Oh yeah, you got to be yourself. And I'm starting to spot the phonies, right? So I don't know how much time you guys spend on LinkedIn, but I've seen several posts that are the same post. They talk like their personal experience, but you can't have 10 people in the same voice with the same personal experience. They're purchasing it from Taplio or something, right? And I'm starting to get to where I can smell that a mile away. And so it puts a bad taste in my mouth and I click unfollow, right? And so it's important that we let our best selves shine through because people can spot a phony, right? And especially if you're just going to be buying these articles, from Taplio or swiping them from Chat GPT or Perplexity or whatever, people they're gonna figure it out. And so you draw the right people to you when you're yourself, right? And so that's how I would answer that question.
Shelly Spence joining us. Shelly Spence joining us here today, Mornings in the Lab with Keith, John, C. Marty Fit. She's got to wrap up here in a quick couple minutes here. Flynn, I got a question for Shelly before we say goodbye to Shelly.
I just wanted to say, I think that's it. What you just talked about there, it's one thing to say, be your authentic self. I think the problem and the challenge that most people are having is that they're trying to do this and they don't know who the fuck they are. They don't know what their authentic self is. And so start with that. Before you ever post anything, before you ever write anything, spend some time self-reflecting and say, who am I? Who the fuck do I want to be in my life? And then how do I want to show up so that I'm attracting people that are like me? And I think that you do that, Shelly, and I really appreciate that about your content.
It's awesome.
Well,
Shelly, final word to you. What do you got to say before you leave here today to go to your real job besides here in the morning?
First, I just want to say thank you for letting me come on and talk about things that I'm excited and passionate about. And I appreciate the show, and I still will be tuning in.
Awesome. And what's one thing you'd leave Business Athlete Nation to take from today's conversation? Leave people with one thing as a nugget that you would love to have the audience take from you today, Shelly.
The nugget I'd leave you is do not be afraid to post. And just like Christina said, figure out who you are and write about that. Write about your professional core values, what's important to you. And if you contemplate those things and you start defining them in your head, you'd be amazed at the great content that you would come up with, right? So anyway, that is the final thought that I would leave.
And there's Shelly's phone ringing, I think, as she's heading herself out of the lab here. So Shelly Spence, we appreciate you joining us here, Mornings in the Lab. You get onto where's my camera? You get onto your day job there. You keep tuning into us. We thank you for hanging out with us. And I appreciate your insights into the LinkedIn stuff. And you have an awesome day. Okay, Shell?
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Take care.
Thank you, Shelly.
All right. Shelly Spence joining us here, Mornings in the Lab with Keith, John, Christina Flynn, and Christopher Martin, C. Marty Fit here. What did you guys take out of that conversation? Flynn, what did you get out of that today?
To me, it's just the matter of be your authentic self. And if you don't know who that is or what that is, then listen.
Awesome. And there we go.
My
There's
kid comes into the room and this is me. And back in the day, I would have been like, nah, babe, you can't be here. You can't be here. You got to go. This is my authentic self. She comes down here. I'm in the house. It is what it is.
I love that. And you know what? That's exactly what this is. This is reality. This is a real show. 5 years ago when the pandemic was around, people were like, oh, you can't have your kids in the room. Oh, you can't have your dogs there. What are you doing? That's not real life. Where's your professionalness? No, this is reality. Reality starts every single day at 8 o'clock Eastern time, Mornings in the Lab. Myself, I'm Keith. That guy over there is Marty. That guy over there is John. And that woman over there is Christina Flynn with that beautiful little, who's that, Christina, this morning?
This is Bray.
This is Bray. Of course it is. Good morning, Bray. And hey, it's now time at this time of the show. It's 9 o'clock Eastern time. It's time to get into the gym with John and Marty and Christina. We are going to talk. Those guys are going to talk about muscle growth. Marty and John, you guys ready to get after it? Going to go teach our audience about, and hey, listen, nation, we've been cutting these shows up. Now on our Mornings in the Lab channel, I got to tell you guys this. You guys got to subscribe to Mornings in the Lab channel. We now have a new segment. We're going to drop it up as a brand new podcast, a brand new show in the gym with John and Marty. 50 minutes of gold nuggets. Go subscribe to the channel. We got some great stuff there yesterday about stretching. And today we are going to talk about muscle growth. Marty, John, let's rock and roll. Me and Tina are going to get out of here. We're back in about 15 minutes, okay? You guys have some fun.
Right on, my brother. Well, let's start off with, I like to kind of start these with, people want to build muscle, but let's basically define what the biggest holdup with building muscle is. And I know that people do not understand how important the diet is within the task of building muscle. Well, you agree?
Oh yeah, that's the most important. Diet is the most important, because at some point the gym becomes easy, right? Once you get consistent, it's not that. I mean, you still got to challenge yourself, but it's not hard to go in there and get a great workout after a while. And so that leads me to let's talk about low volume and high volume training, right? Go ahead. I was going to say there's a time for both, and it depends on what your goal is. So go ahead and lean into that, and I'll attack that after you.
100%, brother. I mean, assuming that the diet is in place, because if the diet, just to put a number on it, the diet is 75% of your equation. That's the biggest chunk of your success. So assuming that's in place, going on to what Marty brought up, if you want to build muscle, what you have to really be careful that you're doing, which for most people is not a problem, but there are some people that this becomes a problem, which is overtraining. If you train too much, you're not going to give the body the ability to rebuild, because the idea behind building muscle is to tear it down, right? But then giving the body the ability with rest and recovery and proper diet, where it not only builds back to where it was, but it goes a little bit more. And if you don't allow the body to build back to where it was and a little bit more, that little bit more is really the key to the equation. So your diet, your rest and recovery, and making sure that you're not training too much or too often is really the formula, because you want to remember, it's all about that little bit more. The little bit more is the growth you're looking for. So take off on that one, brother.
No, absolutely. So Johnny covered what to do outside of the gym. So as far as in the gym, I think you got to do some low volume training where you're training for hypertrophy, right? So you're doing some progressive overload. You're doing things in the 3 to 5, 3 to 6 rep range. You're going to need that. But then at other times, you're going to have to get some high volume training. You're going to have to do the 15, the 20, the 25 reps. Some people even go 30, 50, depending on what you're working on or what it is. I know I do all of that. I'm sure, Johnny, you do all of that as well, right? And so there's pros and cons to both. And then as far as the 3 to 6 rep range, you can't come in the gym and do that every day. And that's what Johnny was talking about as far as the recovery. It's kind of like overtraining. If you coming in every day and you're hitting your 100% max, or you're trying to train till failure every day, that's probably not. I don't. In my opinion, I don't think that's going to help your muscle growth. So you're going to have some maybe higher volume days where you're getting the reps in, where you're not going as heavy. How you feel about that?
100%. 100%. You got to keep your training mixed up. You need the rep ranges changing. You need all sorts of variables in there. But at the end of the day, when it comes to your workouts, you need to make sure that you did only enough that your body can rebuild, plus a little bit more. Remember, the plus a little bit more is the growth you're looking for. A lot of times people think, oh, I got to train so hard and I got to do so much. And in essence, that's not always the case. Now, if you're one of these people who doesn't do a lot, and getting you to work out, that's probably a good mindset. You need to think about doing more. But if you have the habit of showing up all the time and you got that down, now you got to make sure that you're kind of tapering back. Like I have a client, and it's just, he wants to build muscle, and he's just so he didn't understand why I peeled his training back a little bit. That's all he wanted. He was just concerned about building. So, okay, we got to tear back the training a little bit, and we got to basically lean into the nutrition and the rest and recovery to ensure that we're building. So it's a little confusing for people, and it's very individualized. So it's, of course, we're talking about kind of both sides of the fence. If you're already working out all the time and your showing up rate is good, then you might have to worry about doing a little less. If you're not getting there enough, well, then we're going to need you to lean into a little bit more. So, but let's kind of take a different direction now, bro. Let's talk about performance enhancements. Now, here's the thing. Most people, they get so distracted with what enhances their performance the most, because the biggest performance enhancer, period, end of story, known to a human being, and we're not talking about just physical, we're talking mental, we're talking everything, is sleep.
Oh,
people are, man, they're looking, I'm looking for this pill, I'm looking for this potion, I'm looking for this button to push. And if you ain't got your sleep down, it doesn't make a difference what button you're pushing. It ain't gonna do a damn thing. So I think to build muscle, if we don't talk about the importance of sleep, I think we're really, really doing, I guess we're not doing our listeners the service that we need to be doing. So let's talk about sleep, brother.
Yeah, no, definitely. And, like I always mention, that's where your muscle grows. That's where your muscle repairs. That's where the fat burns. It doesn't happen in the gym. And so because people don't know that, they're going to spank themselves in the gym every time. And you shouldn't feel like, just unless maybe if you're a beginner, right? Every time you leave the gym, you shouldn't just feel totally exhausted, right? There's going to be times for that. Like I know Johnny, maybe last week or the week before, you were talking about you did something and it spanked you in the gym. I can't remember what it was. It might have been legs or shoulders, but that's not going to be every workout. So sleep is super important. And, to carry on with that, a lot of times you leave the gym when you're consistent, you're still going to leave with some energy. You feel like that sometimes?
I mean, you kind of hit it on the head. Not every workout is supposed to make you feel like I got your ass kicked. Some workouts you're going to leave walking out of the gym feeling like, man, I got a good workout, but I feel great. Other times you're walking out of there, you're having a hell of a time carrying your gym bag. That's just the nature of like an arm day. Arm day for me is a great day. It's a fun day, but I'm walking out of there feeling like I could do a ton more because I could, but that's the way it needs to be. So on sleep, let's give a few actionable tips to people to increase sleep so that they can increase their muscle building ability. And keep in mind, Marty also brought to the equation that when you get good sleep, your body's actually going to metabolize more body fat. So that's really just a positive side effect. So we're not talking about that. We're talking about building muscle. So when it comes to sleep hygiene, there's a few things that you got to really understand that we want to give you. The tips are going to give you the biggest bang for the buck. And the number one, period, end of story, is to start adapting a set bedtime. Most people have a set wake up time. Well, if you get it, I have an alarm that tells me time to wake up, and I have an alarm that tells me time to go to sleep. And it's just a reminder, because when you start to have those alarms and you start to have regularity, your body catches on. It's called the circadian rhythm, and it knows it's time to go to sleep. So it gets into sleep faster. You sleep more efficiently. You actually get to sleep faster, but the joke is you sleep faster, because if you're in that good sleep, you're getting more done in the time that you're sleeping. So the number one thing with sleep hygiene is to start setting that bedtime. What would you say something else for them to think about with sleep hygiene?
Yeah, we could get real practical with this. So, not only do you have to have a set bedtime, sometimes you got to get your mind and your body and the mindset of going to sleep. So a lot of times, I'll if I have, let's say my bedtime is at 9:00, right? When 8:30 hits, right, I'm brushing my teeth, I'm doing my night routine. And then, let's say I'm doing some work, or, if there's a book I'm reading, I do that in the bed on the way to 9:00 or 9:30 or 10:00, whatever my bedtime is. I'm doing that on the way to sleep just to get my body relaxed. A lot of times if you're scrambling, you're watching sports, you're trying to clean up, you're folding clothes late, a lot of times that might throw you off, but you got to prepare to get your mind and body and a place of being ready to go to sleep.
That's a good one, bro. That's a real good one. He's basically talking about the preparation to actually go to sleep, which is great. But unfortunately, many of you guys have busy lives. You're going to have to do what Marty just said in terms of, you know, you're hustling to get to bed on time. So you're going to show up, get in bed, and you're going to be all wound up. It's easy to happen, man. It happens to the best of us. So here's what you do if you have that problem. Because in most cases, you're thinking about things you got to get done, thinking about things that are, you know, to a certain extent, if you're mentally engaged, it's because there's some level of anxiety involved. If you can't let go, it's because your brain's running about how you deal with what's going on. So you hear me talk about this a lot. The brain doesn't have the ability to be stressed out and grateful at the same time. So if you have those thoughts and you're a little filled with anxiety, think about something that makes you happy. Think about something that you like. It can be the simplest things. Look at your life. There's always things that we can be grateful for. And as soon as you go into a state of gratitude, your brain will release some really, really relaxing chemistry, hormones into your bloodstream. Serotonin being the number one. Serotonin is going to relax you. It's going to give you it's going to put you in a state of feeling well, like everything's okay. And you're going to just drift on to sleep. So if you get in bed and you're still racing, you got to identify that. Think, okay, I'm going to think of something that makes me feel good, something that makes me smile, something I'm really, really happy that I have in my life. And boom. And if you're sitting there thinking, I don't have something that I'm grateful for, do a little more thinking, because we all got something. And as soon as you change the direction of your thought process, you will fall asleep much more efficiently. Let's talk about temperature of the room, brother. Let's talk about that one. Go ahead.
I'm honestly, I don't know the science behind that, but my body won't even fall asleep if it's not cold enough. If it's too hot, I'm not falling asleep. So I don't know this. I don't know the science behind that, but that's just a natural thing for me.
Yeah. And on that level, you know, we don't need to get into the science of it, but Marty's absolutely correct. Your body needs a cool environment so that it can relax. And, you know, it's one of those things where, like, I'm using myself as a perfect example. If I'm at home, or if I'm at a hotel, or if I'm my place, it doesn't make it as where I am. I'm going to have a fan blowing right on my face, because that fan on my face basically helps, or I shouldn't say face, head, all the above. It basically helps my body cool. And then I use the blankets to kind of adjust accordingly to find the right temperature for me to be where I need to be to go to sleep. So, you know, another thing too, let's talk about, so temperature is massive. Make sure it's cool. If you don't have a way to control your environment, use a fan. I mean, we have an air conditioner, but, you know, if I put the air conditioner on the temperature that would keep me cool for sleeping, my wife would be so cold she wouldn't be able to sleep at all. So it's a little bit of a trade. You know, we adjust the temperature, but the fan is what takes me where I need to be. Let's talk about your room or wherever you sleep being dark. Talk about that one, Mart.
Oh yeah, no, that's a big one as well. I mean, like, again, I don't know the science behind it, but I know me, I got a little sliding door. I don't know if you can hear it right here, but I got a sliding door. That thing is shut every night, right? I need it pitch black, and you know, that's how I get the best sleep. And I'm kind of a light sleeper, honestly. So the slightest bit of light will wake me up, and I find myself progressing more in the gym, my body progressing more. You know, if I'm focusing on getting leaner, when it's dark, you know, I'm getting my best sleep and getting my best results.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Now, guys, keep in mind, this little segment was about building muscle. We jumped around a few different topics, but the most important one is to use your sleep to enhance your performance. That's why we spend a lot of time talking about this, because if you're going to dive into something, sleep might be the element that gives you the biggest bang for the buck.
Absolutely. Keith, I think you're muted.
Oh yeah, I think I am muted. Hold on.
You're good now.
You're good now. Excellent. So, hey, we're in the gym with John and Marty here. The segment that drops every single day at 9 o'clock Eastern time. Give you guys something to get you guys going with tips inside the gym. You know what's coincidental, guys, is that you guys are talking sleep today. And Johnny, I know you got to step away for a break here in a quick second, but I just want to keep you around for a quick 2 minutes before you sneak away for a minute. I just got an email this morning from Arnold, and Arnold has a big note in his inbox to Arnold Nation about the power of sleep. And the question he asked Arnold Nation was, can you age 4 years overnight? Exercise and diet get all the attention, John and Marty, but solving sleep is easily one of the healthiest things you can do for your body. Now, research suggests that sleep deficiency, which can be anything less than 6 to 7 hours per night, somebody should have told me that before I started this morning show, is linked to many chronic health problems, including heart disease, kidney disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, stroke, obesity, and depression. Now, one study even suggests that just 2 nights of bad sleep, boys, can make you feel more than 4 years older than your actual age.
Wow.
Here's what I look at it like this. and I don't know if there's something to support this, but this is my findings. If I have a bad night's sleep, like I wake up and I know, holy shit, I didn't get the recovery I needed. It takes me 3 good nights to catch that up. So it's not as simple as, oh shit, I'm gonna get a good night's sleep tonight to recover from yesterday. No, you got to realize that bad night's sleep digs you a deeper hole than you understand.
Yep. It's so true. And it says here, and obviously there's some, you guys talked about some of these things, but if you want to sleep better, start by setting consistent bedtimes, cutting off food. Now, listen, food's a personal thing. We're all different. Every human being's different. We all have our preferences. John might practice one thing, Marty might practice one thing, I might practice one thing. You got to find what's going to work for you, right? But cutting off food, making sure your room is as dark as possible, making sure it's cold, all those things are going to help you get to sleep. While those changes take time, there's one easy button that can instantly improve your rest. And the reality is, as John said, consistent sleep times will help you with getting better quality sleep. So massively. All right. Mornings in the lab. Keith, John, and Marty, 9:15 Eastern time. Johnny, I know you're going to sneak away for a quick break. Why don't you go do that? And I'm going to bring Flynn back up on stage here, and we're going to continue our conversation around a few different things. We talked to Shelley Spence around personal branding, and I wanted to continue that, but most importantly, I had some stuff here that I found was quite fascinating. I'm gonna inject a little bit of curiosity and energy into the conversation. Tina, Marty, did you know that redheads need more anesthesia than everyone else?
Wow.
You did know that. Christina, you know that.
Yes, I am a hybrid. I am a red-brown individual.
So I did not know that. So I had this. I'm all excited about my fact. I'm like, hey, I got something for Marty and Tina today. They're not going to know it. And then Tina's just wrecking my joke, or Tina's wrecking my fact. She's like, oh yeah, I fucking know that. So Tina, tell us.
I know that, and we don't like the sun either. I can tell you that much. We don't get along with the sun. We need more anesthesia. I don't know the science behind it, but I know it's a real thing. Yeah.
Yeah, red-haired people who make up only about 2% of the population may process pain differently from the rest of us and have been shown to often be more tolerant to local anesthetics. Tina, you may need up to a 20% stronger dose than a non-red-haired human.
Yeah, Tina.
What the hell? Tina?
We're fiery. I never claimed to be a ginge because, it's like the ginge ginge definition is, could you go to a ginger party, which there are many. Could you go to a ginger meetup and would you be accepted? I wouldn't be accepted. They're looking at me like, no, you're not quite there. So I don't fully identify as a ginge, mostly because they don't accept me. However, when I did IVF and I got egg extraction. They don't use anesthetics, so I don't exactly know what they use, but I did wake up mid-extraction.
Good God. Dude, honest to God. And then
I went back. Like, I remember explicitly waking up. It wasn't crazy painful. I remember that. Like, I don't remember that pain at all, and it wasn't crazy painful after, but I did wake up mid-extraction.
Man, I don't even know what to say to that. Good times like yicks. Yes, I think we all
want to stump a bunch of dudes. Talk about IVF egg extraction. Got it.
we
all got us back. We all have nothing to say. These three men just sitting here like,
What?
Here's
Yeah, that was me for sure. That was like,
Yeah, nothing to say about that. You know, none of us can speak from any experience.
no.
You know,
Here's something for you guys as we're continuing the morning show this morning. Mornings in the Lab with Keith, John, Marty, and producer Flynn. Did you guys know that duct tape can cure warts for some reason? Simply apply duct tape to the wart, remove it, clean the area, and repeat every couple days. Weirdly, duct tape therapy isn't just ripping the warts off. There's some evidence that the adhesive used on the tape may cause an immune response in the skin that causes warts to clear up. Now, this comes from the National Library of Medicine, and it's called, I just lost my note here, but it is actually called duct tape occlusion therapy. So who knew? You go to the old store, buy some duct tape, just tape your old warts up, and you're fucking good to go.
well, you know, the only thing I can say to this is thank God I don't have any warts, man. And that warts has never been a problem of mine, but goodness gracious, I suppose if it did become, I'd have to get myself a roll of duct tape.
If that doesn't talk about the toxins that are in some of the shit that we use every day, I don't know what does.
Oh, so listen, I found a study.
Get rid of warts.
I found a study that I'm going to put on the table here, hopefully for next week's conversation, around how many of the toxins are in all the food that we and over our lifetime. Somebody did a study around the thousands and thousands of particles that our body consumes from the time of birth to the time that we pass. And actually, Johnny, you said something yesterday that really got me thinking as I was doing post-production yesterday. You know, is there or have there been a human being, or have there been any tests done with a human that has had single ingredient foods from the moment they were born their whole life? I would love to see that study because I don't think that has ever happened.
I don't think there's a study on it. As far as I know, there's only, I mean, granted, it's not like I know everything, but to my knowledge, there's only one person on the planet that I've seen that has had this exposure, meaning to real foods only. And he's a completely different young man. That's all I could say. He's not like any other kid his age. I mean, he speaks multiple languages. I mean, he's close to a foot taller. He's just a very developed young man.
No kidding. Did you know? So, Johnny, you said multiple languages.
Multiple.
Did you know that speaking in a different language can unlock an alternate personality? Yeah. If you learn a new language or grow up speaking multiple languages, your personality might be markedly different depending on which language you study. One study gave people who grew up in Spanish, English bilingual households a personality test in each language and found that their values and personality traits were dramatically different in the respective results. So depending on what language you're learning, your values are going to lean into. I find that fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question. But if you think about it, a language that you speak, especially even just with, you know, how it's spoken and even slang that comes in there is a lot of influence.
No, I know. Exactly. Hey, I got a good question from the nation right now. Who's the Joker with the sunglasses? I'm not sure. I'm just trying to find him. Anyways, hey, you're hanging out with Keith, John, Marty, and Christina Flynn here. Mornings in the Lab. And hey, I invite you, Bryn 111, to like and subscribe to the channel. We have a show. It's called Mornings in the Lab with me. I'm that Keith guy. What we do is we help you guys get your ass out of bed. And you know what? You are 70 some odd minutes late because the show started at 9 o'clock Eastern time, 8 o'clock Eastern time. I can't even do math this morning. And we're here talking about how to win on LinkedIn. And let's just kind of wrap up that conversation, Flinner. So we had Shelly Spence on here today to talk about winning on LinkedIn. And she's got a full-time gig. And while she's doing her full-time gig, she's also winning on LinkedIn. Christina, LinkedIn users who share content regularly are 10 times more likely to be contacted for opportunities. You are a personal branding expert. You work with CEOs, executives, athletes, business leaders all around the planet on helping them build their personal brand. What's the one biggest problem? They come knock on your door to say, Christina, I'm lost. Help me with my personal brand, even though I got a full-time job, even though I'm a CEO of a company. But I was a CEO of a company, Christina, and I was like ignoring it all. What would you say to me who's standing in front of you right now about embracing the power of LinkedIn. And before you do that, Brown Baldy, first time listener here. Thanks, Brown Baldy.
What's up, Brown Baldy?
Thanks for coming to
My
my.
God.
Yes, you come and subscribe to the channel. Marty, did you know Brown Baldy?
Yeah, that's my guy.
Oh, awesome. Hey, Marty.
Right on.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man. Thanks for joining us here today, pal. Christina, following up my question, let's lean into the LinkedIn stuff. And what are you saying to somebody who's been ignorant of it, who's avoiding it, and who's hesitant to step into the LinkedIn world?
To me, these are all platforms that you invest time and effort and energy in with the hope that it's going to return something. When you think about LinkedIn, I think about the opportunity. There are no platforms right now in the world that present the type of opportunity that LinkedIn does, where you can connect with people from a business perspective, where you can truly get a good understanding of who they are and what they're about, what their lived experiences are through their profile, and who are actually there for the purpose of business. That is the purpose of the platform. There are over 1 billion people on LinkedIn. Less than 1% and much less than 1% are actually creating content versus consuming content. That's a supply demand issue. So when you think about opportunity, instead of starting on Instagram or starting on TikTok, if you're starting from zero, there is no better probability of your success than giving LinkedIn a try. I get it. It feels icky. Personal brand feels icky. I like to take that out of it entirely and just say, this is like any other investment in assets for your portfolio, anything else. S&P 500, you're going to put some shit there. You're going to maybe do some angel investing in some other places. All of those things are being done because you want to give them time and space in the market with an upfront investment to be able to compound over time and give you leverage in the future. Your personal brand, if you invest, if you spend the time, will give you that same kind of return. And my argument is that likely even a bigger one and a more sustainable one if you put the work in now. But you can't be after it looking for results after 3 fucking posts or 3 fucking weeks. Like any investment, give it time to compound, give it time to mature in the market, give it time to understand who you are and what you're about, and then you'll see the results.
But Tina, there's a perception with LinkedIn. The perception, it's a job board. It's stuffy. It's just a bunch of old folks posting about jobs and kumbaya, kumbaya. I want to go be on Instagram. I want to go and spend time on a different platform. Talk about the power of LinkedIn and why, and then I'm going to share why we are building a business there. But Christina, give somebody who's hesitant or reluctant to go spend time on LinkedIn one reason besides the 1 billion. Tell somebody why it's not stuffy. Tell somebody why it's real, why you'd want to spend more time on LinkedIn, Christina.
I'm going to go opposite. It is fucking stuffy, which is why if you have any kind of personality, please go on LinkedIn.
Yep.
If you have any kind of authenticity to what you're trying to talk about or anything interesting, please go on LinkedIn because we need you. We want that. And people are engaging with people that are actually fucking real. So thank you. That's the opportunity.
Yeah, she's bang on. And when we started this platform and I've started the lab, I looked at all the different platforms. And I'm an old social media guy, Nation. I started a social media company, built it up, sold it for a couple dollars. I've been playing in social media for a long time. I understand it. I understand yesterday's old worlds of social media. When I decided to come back and build this brand new media company, I looked at the platforms, Instagram and Facebook and X and LinkedIn, and it became clear to me the opportunity is on LinkedIn because the propensity of real human beings is more than likely higher there, even though there's fakery everywhere with Shake and Daniel Hall. But if I can identify a real human being, let's call Christina Flynn out, I can go find her. I can identify her. I can then go find her on the other social platforms. Now I found Christina. She's real. I now can know she has a wallet. And the reality is the human beings on LinkedIn are going to spend more money. So if you're looking to build your business, I could not encourage you enough to spend time on LinkedIn. And Christina's right. It is fucking boring there. There is a bunch of stuffy old shirts there. Hence, this guy with the sunglasses and the goofy hat and the big muscles underneath the jacket. No, not John Anderson. Keith Billis over here. Yeah, we're weird. And we
That
like
was your best joke of the day.
Oh yeah. So guys like Alex, girls like Amy Ginden, guys like Jeff Hatton, creating that Krasky, the content that stands outside of the barriers, that's the content that's working. That's the content that's going to make you stand out from everybody else. right? You're going to see a guy like John Anderson on LinkedIn. You're going to see a guy like C. Marty Fit on LinkedIn, right? So I invite you guys, come spend time on the platform and come make a difference. That's where there's going to be money made here in the future, is over on the platform.
And it's a means to an end, right? I don't want to forget about that.
Yes.
You don't own any platform. You are renting space there. They are giving you the opportunity to create content for free. Your job is to use that as a way to build an audience and a community and get them off platform, email, website, whatever it is, so you can get the data and you can own the data and you can connect with them, regardless of if LinkedIn changes their algorithm or X becomes X instead of fucking Twitter.
Yeah.
We never thought that was going to happen.
Yeah. And if you think about it, if you think about the platforms, right? LinkedIn is the last platform not solely individually owned or controlled by one human, right? Mm-hmm. X is ultimately controlled by Elon. All the meta platforms are ultimately controlled by Mark. Yeah, there's a board involved, but Zuck has those final voting shares, right? You look at LinkedIn's the only platform it's owned by Microsoft, but there are a number of other decision makers that are part of that instead of just one human being. But to Christina's point, wherever you're building, you're going to want to build off platform as well, because that is what you're building yourself. All right, it's 9:30 Eastern time. We're going to get to we're going to wrap up the show here with a segment we call the community check-in, and we're building this one out. So if you guys have been tuning into our shows, as we started this thing months ago, we started with an hour. We trickled up to 75 minutes. We're now at 90 minutes. We're working our way towards 120, with the goal being 240 minutes of morning show content for you guys. So right now, the community check-in, we're creating a segment where we're going to go start celebrating more people in the community outside of our creator spotlight. But right now, producer Jimmy, we are going to pivot the attention to the creator spotlight and invite this human being. Well, not this human being, but we are going to where's my notes here? All right. So today's Creator Spotlight is a personal branding and content strategist who helps founders and coaches become industry thought leaders on LinkedIn. This person helps busy founders and entrepreneurs build a strong personal brand without spending hours on the platform. This person's generated over 8 million impressions, and he's helped his clients gain 70,000 followers, driving 200 grand in annual recurring revenue. Specializing in LinkedIn strategy, he creates personalized content strategies that guide clients through the entire sales funnel, top of the funnel, bottom of the funnel. He's a ghostwriting and engagement expert, helping clients by ghostwriting posts and building.
It's a she.
Oh, I'm sorry. She helps clients by ghostwriting posts and building community engagement, turning profiles into lead magnets. Her unique approach to LinkedIn personal branding is changing how entrepreneurs and coaches build thought leadership and authority online. Without any further ado, Christina Flynn, let's make some noise for our creator spotlight today, which is going to be Quinn Chi. So Quinn helps founders and coaches become industry thought leaders without spending hours on LinkedIn. And what she does is she helps those busy founders. And I know you're listening right now. You're like, I don't got all this time to spend on the platform. Well, no. Go knock on Quinn's door. From Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. I've been to Ho Chi Minh. Yeah, that's awesome, man. Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. Quinn is a personal branding expert. And like I said, she helps you if you're super busy to get shit done on the platform. Christina, when you found Quinn and you saw her on the feed, give us a couple reasons why we're celebrating Quinn Chi here today in the lab.
Quinn is what I'm talking about. Quinn is a breath of fresh air on the platform. She recently did a post saying content consumption is mental masturbation. And what does she mean by that? She's saying, you think that everything you need to learn is in somebody else's content. And so you're scrolling and you're saving articles and you're doing this and you're doing that. But if you're not doing anything with it, if you're not acting, if you're not executing, at the end of the day, you're just making yourself feel productive without actually being productive. And I know Johnny and Marty talk about this as well. That kind of perspective is what we need. It's real talk. It's saying, listen, I've got a skill. I'm a ghostwriter. I can make you sound like yourself online. You can save some time. I'm going to be able to turn that into content that's really, really clear and outlined, so that's driving your business goals. And I'm going to tell you what I'm learning, but give my viewpoint and my personal perspective on it, which is like, quit the bullshit. This is the fear thing that we keep talking about. Don't be afraid. Stop consuming, start creating. That's the opportunity.
Yeah, start creating and stop consuming, because that is the opportunity. And I read a great post from a creator yesterday on the platform that said, there's so many people that are reluctant to get started, and hence they never get started, and they're always the consumer. Time goes by, 10 years go by, 15 years go by, 20 years go by. They've always been the consumer, and the door's closed, right? It's never been easier to become a creator on the platforms, and it's never been easier to make it to step forward. If you're standing in a room of 100 people, 99 people aren't creating that content. Be the one that steps forward, create the content, be that leader. So
it's such a say it's not hard. It's really fucking hard. And that's okay.
It is hard. And Quinn Chi, if you're a busy person, will help you. She is today's creator spotlight today, mornings in the lab. All right. Wow. Another 90 minutes of the show wrapped up here again. We started off with a brand new opener. We had Shelly Spence in the show today. We talked LinkedIn branding. We had Joseph join us in the lab. We had Chris join us in the lab. Good time join us in the lab. We had So Young Park join us. Fit Presenter join us. Wow. We had a bunch of people join us all over the planet here today. Christina, one thing you took out of today's conversation with Shelly.
It's okay if you don't know who you are.
Yeah.
Spend some time reflecting.
Yes.
I did it with AI. I was like, I don't know who I am, and I don't have anyone that's going to tell me who I am. So AI, you're going to ask me a bunch of questions about myself, and I'm going to learn who the fuck I am, because until you do that work, you can't be your authentic self online. Yeah.
Marty, what did you take out of today's conversation with Shelly?
Being uncomfortable is a great sign. And if you don't get that, if you don't get that confirmation, or I guess that's probably the wrong word, but Shelly basically mentioned that, people were going against her. People were laughing at her when she decided to go to the Army. So, if people don't agree with you, or, people are against what you're doing, that's a great sign as well. You're probably doing the right thing.
Yeah. Johnny.
Yeah, I liked how she basically kind of explained in one of her stories how, she, pushed into being uncomfortable and pushed into, just, realizing that she can do anything because she tried. And once she tried, she realized that she was capable of so much more. So I think for people listening, you got to realize that if you give it a go, you're going to find that you're capable of so much more. Yeah. So keep that in mind.
I got to tell you guys, since we started the show, and Shelly said something before the show started here in the green room about the content we're creating. And it's incredible to me, John, Marty, Christina, how many people quietly or don't talk about proudly or enough out loud about this idea of walking towards or embracing failure. More of you than I realized want to walk towards and embrace failure. But more of you, I'm realizing, don't know how. And more of you, I'm realizing, are wanting to embrace it, but are looking for a community to encourage you to do so. If you found this show, you found the right show to help you do that. Every Monday and Friday, I walk towards failure by going and do my runs that I hate doing. And I talked to Shelly here before the show, and she's like, geez, I love the content you guys are creating because you guys invite that path towards failure. And then when somebody falls, you're there to help them be picked up, to help them achieve their big goals. And that's why we started this show, to help you guys achieve those big, audacious goals and help you be accountable to those goals. But John, Marty, that's a theme. It's a theme people coming through the lab here of this whole idea of embracing failure. John Anderson.
One of the things I say often to myself and people I mentor is fail fast.
Yeah.
Don't wait to fail, because, failure is a part of the equation of success. It's really the front door. And so if you're waiting to fail, you're waiting to progress, and it just doesn't make any sense. So own it and repeat to yourself, fail fast. I need to fail. And when you're programming yourself with knowing that you need to fail, it becomes much easier.
That's it. That's it. Marty?
I absolutely agree. It's part of it, whether it's the gym, whether it's business, get used to the failure. It's going to happen, and you're on the right track if it happens.
Awesome. Christina, we're going to wrap it up.
One of the few things in life that are guaranteed, friends.
That's it.
You will fail.
You will fail. You will fail. And listen, if you found this show during your path to failure, I invite you to tune us in 8 o'clock Eastern time, mornings in the lab with myself, Christina, John, and Marty. We will help you through that path of failure. And if you fall, we're going to be here to catch you. If you win, we're going to be here to celebrate you. 8:00 Eastern time, mornings in the lab. We'll see you guys tomorrow with our guest, David Sowers, the guy from Royal Restrooms. Tomorrow is going to be a great, fun show. Good time. Thanks for joining us. Much respect. We'll see you guys tomorrow. We're going to get out of here.